Say amen. Say amen. Oh la 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 la. Amen. Our lives go better. Oh. Family go better. Oh. Amen. Everything go better. Oh. Amen. We go better. Oh. Amen. We go better. Oh. Amen. 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 Our lives go better. Oh. Amen. Family go better. Oh. Amen. Everything go better. Oh. Amen. We go better. Oh. Amen. We go better. Oh. Amen. 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 Woo! Welcome, 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 welcome to another edition of Marie Clinic Live, and welcome to the grand finale of our second year anniversary of Marie Clinic. We are so sorry for keeping everyone waiting, but our guest speaker is in the house and is ready for us. Please do pardon us that we kept you waiting for this long, but really it's worth it. It's worth the wait because we know we are going to be learning a lot today. So like I said, we'll be looking at the topic, marriage preparedness for men. I remain your host, Moralaya and Oputi. Please ensure you share this video because I believe we'll be learning a lot. So to take us today on this interesting topic is an iconoclast, a global thought leader. As a matter of fact, you need to hear him speak. Is naturally a thought disruptor. You know, it will send your mind raising that you would know that something has happened to your mind and you would definitely crave for a change. So I'm honored and privileged to introduce this evening Mr. Olakunle Soriyan, aka PK. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. You are welcome to Marie Clinic. You are welcome, sir. Ooh. I hope the network is fine. It's already with us. I just want to be sure that it's connected.
Breaking, so I want to be sure is not. Okay. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you, sir. No. I hope it's not the network. Wow. Okay, so let's just give him a few minutes to reconnect back with us. I guess that must be the network, but it is fully ready for us. So let's just give him a few minutes to join us today. We are so sorry for keeping us waiting. You know, it's due to some unplanned schedules of his. but definitely he will be joining us shortly. Oh, I'm sure we've waited for so long. Okay, so just to fill in for him, for some time now, people have been complaining that, oh, it's just the women that are being prepared for marriage, or we are just preparing only the women for marriage, the men are not prepared for marriage, that our parents ensure that the girl child is prepared for marriage. But the male child, no one is preparing the male child for marriage. So we thought that it is necessary for us to also talk about preparing the male child for marriage. Okay, so it's back with us.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Wow, I guess it's network. We can hear you, sir. We can hear you. Okay, so we thought that educating the men as well on how to prepare for marriage will go a long way in ensuring that we have a balanced training for family life, that both the male and the female gender is prepared and ready for marriage. Mm. Okay, so it's still the network. I'm sure he will join us shortly. Hello, sir. Okay, we
Yes,
can
can
hear
you hear
you
me
now.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, am I very clear? Are my words
Yes,
clear?
yes, your
Okay,
words are
so
clear.
it just keep getting worse and worse since. First of all, let me apologize to everyone for the time. I wish I could see those who are logged on here so that I can. Is there a way I can see the people that are logged on, not their faces, but to even see their list, just to connect? Anyway, I just really want to apologize for keeping you all here this late. I don't know how many people are still plugged in at this time. This was supposed to have happened since 5 o'clock, and then it was
Yes.
moved to 8 o'clock, and then here we are. So please bear with me. I am deeply sorry and apologetic for all of this. Then the drama of connecting, right?
Mm.
Anyway, so let me just go straight to the point, and hopefully maybe we can take some questions once I'm done. I
Okay.
still have a flight to catch tonight. So uh, I'm just trying to quickly fill this in before I get on my next flight. So, guys, um, there's so much that is going on in the world today that necessitates that we think differently about how we have known truth, and we begin to not second guess ourselves, but take the liberty to begin to question some of the assumptions that we have held so dear, and to begin to ask ourselves about new trajectories of growth and meaning and purpose particularly in defining what is important to us, in defining our authenticity as individuals and collectively as a people. And I mean the human race. Change has visited us in a way completely unplanned and has become essentially an interruption. Now, what is coming will come, right? It is who we are and how prepared we are that will make the difference. What is coming will come, how we see, how we hear, how we interpret, and how we act are the things that make it difference in the way that you really cannot just flying. You see, you also cannot stop. The only thing you can stop is the birds perching on your head, right? In the same way, you really cannot control what is coming. What is coming will come. What you can control is your response. So we have the reality the be managed by technologists. That is technocracy, where all ideas are governed by technology and managed by technologists. So you have all of the challenges that the pandemic has brought. And the fact is that COVID is not going away. We are just going to learn to coexist with COVID. And I've said this since March 2020 in the public domain as part of my predictions about the realities of the pandemic. In a post-COVID world, we're going to have COVID there. We're going to contain it by coexisting with it, learning to the same way we're already coexisting with so many other diseases, including the common flu, including measles and chicken pox. We already coexist with these things. We take yellow fever. We coexist. We just find vaccines that work and then that manage the situation and reduce mortality. And then we work with that as much as we can, and that's how we're going to have to live with COVID. COVID is not going to go, right? And once we understand that, the implications are then obvious. But on the back of all of what the pandemic has done, there are some underlying conditions or experiences that have been prevailing for a while, which the pandemic has now come to hasten. One of them is what I just said, the fact of technocracy. StreamYard, I doubt if anybody that is online right now knew about StreamYard before COVID, but StreamYard was not created because of COVID. It has been there. What COVID has done is that it has forced all of us online, because online is the new life and is the new line of human exchange. And so all of us now have to curate all that we do online. And so there are so many companies online today that we are now working with that we didn't even know they were there all this while. So what COVID has done is to collapse time, pretty much fast track, what will have taken, maybe it will have taken us another, maybe companies like Zoom or StreamYard will have died, but for COVID, if there was no COVID, maybe those companies will have died for lack of patronage at the level that they want, not being able to scale at the level that they want. So that has brought us something new, right? We can now be in Lagos. I mean, I can be here and we can be talking to 10 countries right now at the same time. Cost of travel is collapsed, cost of hoteling and all of that is collapsed. There's so much going on online on Zoom and StreamYard and all these platforms that is going on physically, right? Meetings are now happening on Zoom and so much more, but it's costing cost. Companies are asking themselves, do we need to go back to how life was? We are having a more cost-effective exchange of meetings, closing deals faster. It has brought speed. It has brought all of that. Then you have the reality of Gen Z, so you have technocracy, you have the pandemic, you have Gen Z. And Gen Z and their peculiarities are redefining everything we thought we knew about discipline, about leadership. When in my own generation, which is, I think I'm a baby boomer, I think I am the residue of the baby boomers. But for us, our leaders made us to do what they want. They made us do what they want. You see? To lead millennials and Gen Z, you can't make them do what you want. You have to make them want to do what you want. They are two different things. It's not just making them do what you want, but making them to want to do what you want, right? So stories like he that pays the piper dictates the tune is gone. If you harass anybody now, they will take you to the court of social media and murder you there and jail you there. and on social media, the law is upside down. You are not innocent until proven guilty on social media. On social media, you are guilty until proven innocent. So you don't want to go there, because at the end of all of it, and you are now proven innocent, it's almost difficult to mop up the nuisance in value of all the accusations that you have gone through. So leading Gen Z who are demanding transparency, who are demanding accountability, my generation was trained to put a demand on our mental strength, to put the highest demand possible on our mental strength. But our fathers did not pay enough attention to our emotions. So we grew our mental strength at the expense of our emotions. But Gen Z, they are being trained to find their highest meaning through their emotions. And it is up to us to help them, and they are doing that at the expense of objective reasoning. And it is up to us to help them to see objective reasoning, their mental strength, as much as their emotional strength, right? So you have all of that. And what that is doing is also encouraging the fourth idea, which is freedom. You then have freedom, how people feel. It's called post-truth. How people feel is now more important than what is really happening. How people feel about what is going on. How people feel about what is happening is more important than what is really going on. Sadly, what people feel about the truth is now more important than what the truth is about. You see, it's a very thin line. And so feeling has become the new God. Businesses, ideas, philosophies, services that will not bring the highest level of positive freedom to people, positive in quotes, will not have a future. So these are the realities. Then you have on the back of that pluralism. And pluralism has been on the growth, and this generation Z that we have are pumping it into a new level. So Gen Z is tolerance for all ideas with non-dominant. That's pluralism. Tolerance for all ideas. So even things like you can't in a pluralized world, there's a limit to how you can even evangelize if you're a Christian or a person of faith or a Muslim or something, because pluralism is basically tolerance for all ideas with non-dominant. So an evangelism is a commitment to push the dominance or the superiority of the faith that you understand, right? So in a pluralized world, you really cannot do that. So it is in the midst of all of these things that I can go on and on, because after pluralism, there's secularism, there is privatization, which is strengthened by technocracy that I spoke about. And that essentially is that the human being is not able to find his highest misery or his highest bliss alone without human contact. I mean, when I was growing up, if you are alone and you are laughing, people are going to say you are mad, But in today, if you are alone and you are laughing, everybody understands that you are catching your trip on your phone. Your phone is no longer a thing. It's not a community. It's a world, right? And you find husband and wife texting themselves in the same house. You find siblings texting themselves in the same house. They're just a room apart from each other, and they are texting and they are chatting right there. And they're not talking about something that happened, in school or at work. They're talking about plates and food is ready downstairs and how we need to eat. Let me bring a spoon up, and it's all chat. It's incredible. That's privatization. The power, the new power to destroy ourselves or to help ourselves, to build community or to be selective, promote singularity at a level that is unhealthy for the human condition. But the idea is that we cannot have our highest bliss and highest misery without human contact, right? With that device in our hands. That's privatization. Then you have the burden of fetishism. The idea of somebody is doing you, somebody is not doing you, jazz or no jazz, and all that cheap psychology. All of that is going on at the same time. It is in the midst of that you still have to work, you have to do business, you still have to raise a family, you still have to be a good wife or a good husband, you still have to be a good dad or a good mom to your kids, be a responsible person in the community, take responsibility in church or in your mosque or in your whatever temple, stuff like that are all, and what is happening is um, all of that is going on with little education about what is really going on. And so platforms like this are very critical so that we can begin to understand that pressure has been intensified. We may not know, but when pressure is intensified, it's an attack on compassion, it's an attack on empathy, it's an attack on tolerance, right? Because when pressure is intensified, it's a direct impact on things like love, things like, because if you're having pressure with your work or in your business, it's depending on your emotional intelligence, you can just bring all of that and pour it on your children, or pour it on your wife, or pour it on your husband, or pour it on the relationships that matter to you. Because if you say that to somebody you don't know, if somebody in your office cannot be compared to the impact that your driver will have on you. If a stranger tells your children that they are mad, they will feel bad, but they won't feel as bad as if their own dad is telling them that they are mad. If a stranger tells your husband that he's mad, you will not like it, but it won't feel bad, compared to if his wife tells him that he's mad or he's stupid, or if her husband is telling her that she's mad. So by the time you bring all of that home, those are people you have permitted to speak to your soul, to speak to your spirit. You have permitted your husband, you have permitted your wife, you have dropped all your guard. When you are at work or you are in business or in the marketplace, you put on all your shield, your sword, all your helmet, everything is ready, armor, ready to respond to negative talk, to gossip, to whatever is going on, malice, treachery. You are ready. But at home, you drop all your swords, you drop all your shield, you drop all and you just come naked, and then boom, your husband hits you, boom, words you cannot take back, boom, the children did something, it goes straight into your soul, but that does not excuse you from showing up intelligently, from showing up with understanding and wisdom. It doesn't excuse you. So how do you balance all of that, where there's now almost legitimacy, there's now almost justifiable reasoning for explaining out your foolishness or your unguardedness, or your naivety? You can almost justify it, that what do I do? I mean, so there's a lot that is going on, and I empathize with people that are raising family. I'm also raising a son at this time myself, so I know the challenges that are ahead of us, and what we need is skill. Fortunately, when complexity is also intensified, yes, it's a direct impact on soft areas of life, like emotion, like love, like compassion, like tolerance, like acceptance, and all of that. But it's also a greater and greater demand on knowledge. When complexity is intensified, it's also it calls for a great demand on knowledge. So to knowledge we must turn, because when we know better, we do better. So I'm going to try to break this into 2 different of communication, 3 different of communication. I'm going to speak to those of us who are men, and then I'm going to speak to those of us who are women. I'm not sure if we have singles in the house, but I'm not sure I have the time to break it down. We have singles in the house. Yes. So I'm going to try to speak to singles real quick as well, and then round this up, and then maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions, because people are really waiting for me. Like I said, I still have a flight to catch tonight, but I just couldn't help but to show up, because we've made a commitment to do this. So the first thing I want to say to married couples is a golden reality, a golden truth. And this is true for everyone, whether you are single, married, whether you are a man or a woman, boy or girl. This is true for you. You will never find peace in any relationship, even at work or in business, with partners, with customers, with friends, in community, in church, wherever it is. You will never find peace beyond your magnanimity in celebrating the weakness of others, in celebrating the vulnerability of others, in celebrating and accepting the imperfection of others. Now, there's nobody living. First of all, there's nobody in this room right now that is listening to us who is perfect. There's nobody living on earth, not the Pope, not Bishop Oyedepo, not Kenneth Copeland, not the highest imam anywhere, or the most pious Buddhist in the Buddhist temple anywhere. There's no human being that is perfect. Think about that. There's no human being that can supply perfect behavior. The person who can supply perfect behavior has not been born, will never be born. Now, if you insist that only through perfect behavior are you going to have peace, you will never have peace. I can assure you. Because your children are not going to behave, they're going to mess up. Your husband is going to disappoint you. Your wife is going to disappoint you. To be shocked at what is normal is in itself a flavor of lunacy. You know, it is unintelligent to express shock at what is normal. But more than not being intelligent, it is naive, and more than that, is writing letter to lunacy. Because if I call your name, you know, Morolayo right now, Morolayo, if I say Morolayo, you're not going to be shocked. You're not going to say, what? What? You can't say what? That's your name. I'm calling you by your name. You don't express shock at what is normal. If I call you Morolayo and you are like, oh, I'm going to first think you are okay. I will say, okay, maybe she's trying to be funny. So I'm going to give you a face like, okay, I will laugh with you small. Because I want to tell you something. I will name again. Okay, Morolayo. And then you still go, yeah. I will now give you a face like, whatever joke you are cracking, okay, I get the joke. Can we now go to what I want to say? Morolayo, I'm going to call you. If you still give me that, the first thing I would do is take 2 steps backward, because I can't predict. Maybe the next time you are going to bite me. It's now becoming something else. The idea is that you can't express shock at what is normal. So if you express shock at what is normal, don't let anybody deceive you. It is unintelligent. It is an unintelligent behavior. So when your wife does something wrong, well, she can't but do something wrong. It is unintelligent not to expect her to do something wrong. It's naive. And if you take that too seriously, you are already aligning with lunacy, because that is the beginning of lunacy. That is a self-denial of the obvious. You know, you are going to move into psychosis very soon. The truth is, you cannot express shock at what is normal. Your husband is going to act strange. He's going to do things you couldn't have envisaged. It's because he's a human being. Human beings are flawed and they are vulnerable and they get things wrong. So I don't understand it. When husband says, oh, she did that, I say, hey, you know, are you expecting her not to actually do anything wrong? I mean, how do you draw that line, really? Since she cannot supply perfect behavior, you don't have perfect behavior. We all mess up every day. Of course, there are different type of misbehavior. There are some that cuts through your soul and hits you deep in your spirit. Yes, but it just simply confirms the humanity of that person, right? So I tell people, it took me 7 years of marriage to realize I would rather be at peace than be right. It took me 7 years of marriage to realize I would rather be at peace than be right. Because the articulation for justice is always a possibility. But every time you fight for your justice, you trade your peace for it. Every time you fight for your justice. And people have won so much justice in their house, they have no more peace. All the peace is gone. They've traded all the peace for justice. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? How are you? That's it. You know, the house is tensed. They've won so many arguments because they forget that every time you fight for your justice in the home, you trade your peace for it. And so you have to be selective about what qualifies for the investment of your time and your energy in the home situation, because you want to ask yourself, is it really worth trading peace for? Because if you don't manage this from an helicopter view and see all the details, you will be too busy putting yourself in a place that you don't belong, assuming that you are perfect and holding others to the standard of perfection that you don't and cannot supply. So part of maturity is the ability to live with, to confront the vulnerabilities of others, to accept that if they actually show you no weakness and they tick all your boxes every time, maybe they are hiding something really grand from you that one day you are going to find out. The magnanimity to handle what I call a Noah moment. I call it a Noah moment. And I picked that from the story of Noah in the Bible when he was drunk. Noah was a great guy. He was known for many things. He built the ark. He helped people do better. He saved animals and human beings from an obvious doom of the world. But then he got into his own voice, and his 3 children came in and saw him drunk and naked. And one of them make a mockery of him. The other 2 could not even look at him. They picked a garment and covered their dad in his nakedness and in his stupor. You will always have a moment, is a moment where you are vulnerable, exposed, weak, and what you need are people with a sheet to cover your nakedness. Not those who are going to point fingers, not those who are going to make a mockery of you. And people also forget that vulnerability precedes intimacy. Vulnerability precedes intimacy. When you go around people who are not intimate, go check it. They are still proving points to each other. They are not vulnerable with each other. You see, perfect love eliminates fear.
Yeah.
And fear is the instrument for unnecessary caution and guardedness in the home. When the husband cannot tell the wife some things he's going through, maybe he's liking a girl and he cannot discuss it, he keeps it in himself and he continues to grow within himself and he gives life to that thing, instead of discussing it, but he's afraid. But the reason why he's afraid is because of the consequences. How will my wife relate with this? How will my wife handle with this? I cannot tell him. I cannot tell her. I cannot tell him. If I tell my wife, my husband, that there's a guy in the office who is hitting on me, and guess what? I like him and I'm feeling very uncomfortable. He's going to call you promiscuous. He's going to call you Ashewo. He's going to say, look, he's not going to understand. He's going to sit in your head and try to help you manage that situation. So, but the reason why you are afraid of his reaction is because, the love is imperfect. The love between those 2 people are imperfect because perfect love will take away fear. Perfect love is that I am ready to receive the best and the worst of you. That is perfect love. Because you don't love people for what they do. You love them for who they are. And when you relate people based on what they do, you compromise the very standard of the human essence. Because people can never do things perfectly. You can have a perfect heart. You can't have perfect actions. And so your actions and your heart will never meet. There will be things by their actions. You will meet their wealth of generosity and benevolence trapped in their hearts that their actions cannot capture. And when I help young people to deal with drug addiction and help them to deal with the challenges of youth, the first thing I do is to make a distinction between what the young man is doing and who he is. Because there are 2 different things. And one of the things you want the child to also understand is that your actions and who you are 2 different things. Society is going to define you by your actions, but you are different from your actions. Your action is just a representation of who you are. Who you are is different from that. Now, can you begin to doubt your actions and find who you are and believe more of yourself? And that's where transformation happens. You see? So I want to encourage husbands, wives, singles out there, learn to celebrate your strength, yes, but don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy at all. Don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy at all. Some things are easy for you. You just know how to arrange the bed, cut your nails, arrange the slippers, put the water where it should be. You just know how to do those things. There's so much exposure and training over the years that you don't even know that made those things easy for you. It doesn't mean those things are easy. It doesn't mean they are easy. Leaders make that mistake a lot. Bosses make that mistake a lot. Parents make that mistake a lot. They judge people by the standards of their own performance, and they therefore judge the authenticity of others to grow at their own pace. You want to be careful not to hold people to your own standard, not to hold people to your own rules. Some things are easy for you. It doesn't mean they are easy. Those things are tough, man, but they are easy for you by the grace that is working in your life. Don't confuse the working of the grace of God in your life to determine the ease of people. And I used to do it. I used to drive my team, get this document ready, get this ready. Why can't you do it overnight? What are you doing? Why did you sleep? Just read the file and finish the whole thing. I used to do all of that till I realized that, no, that's me. There's so much that has made me who I am that is not in the life of these people. I am holding them to my own standard. And my standard is a history of failures and success, of education and all kinds of experiences that made me who I am. So how do I separate what I know how to do from how others must do what I want them to do? And that works in marriage, that works anywhere. Women are a victim of this a lot because of the unfairness of the moral standard of society. When a man has 5 girlfriends, we say he's hip. We say, man, bad guy. When a woman is just getting close to 2 men, we say she's promiscuous. If a man sleeps with 10 girls, we say, man, bad guy, man, bad guy. If a woman sleeps with 1 man, we say, look at her, useless woman. As if morality is feminine or female, as if decency is gender sensitive, as if consciousness is gender sensitive. You see a man who says that he cannot be loyal to, he just can't understand fidelity. I cannot just be having 1 wife for the rest of my life, with 1 woman with the variety that is in the world, man. There's too much variety in the world, to celebrate fidelity. I just don't understand fidelity. Go close to the man. Just go close to him. He has maintained 1 baba for the last 20 years. 1 baba. He has maintained only 1. He has not put his ear anywhere except with that baba. And he said he doesn't know fidelity. He knows fidelity. He's just selecting the platform where he will release and share that fidelity. There are people who say that I can't be loyal to 1 woman, but they have been loyal to BMW all their life. They've never driven another brand of car. It's BMW or fidelity with Gucci. My shoes are Gucci. My bag must be Gucci bag. Some is Louis Vuitton. I mean, people are loyal. People are practicing fidelity all day long. The problem is they have it easy to practice it with a thing that fits their whims and fancies, their whims and caprices, that fits their nuances, that they can give it to another human being, which is sad, but that is the wretchedness of the human condition. But we all have to rise to that level of thinking and begin to take responsibility essentially for the peace that must reign around us. And the beginning of that is to accept that we are as flawed as the people who make us unhappy, and that everybody deserves a chance. And with more understanding and believability, we can create a lot of magic and we can create a lot of peace. That's priceless, right? Then I want to give this counsel as well, and this works for everybody as well. And make your no rare in the home condition. I tell husbands every time, there are 3 ways to run a home. First one is whatever your wife wants, do it. Second one is whatever your wife wants, do it. Third one is remind yourself 1 and 2 that whatever your wife wants, do it. You see, if you keep that simple rule of doing whatever your wife wants, you'll be amazed at the wealth of peace that will be reigning in that home. Wow. Does that mean we have to let the woman just do anything she wants? No. Let her do anything she wants. That it's not destiny sensitive. She wants to go here, she wants to buy this. It's not destiny sensitive. Let her do it. Whatever she wants, just say yes. Just say yes. Just say yes. You see, Every yes you say to what she wants empowers your no in the day of usage. You see? And this is a skill. Even with dealing with children, even with dealing with friends, permit yourself to be generous with the use of your yes. You know, because when you say a lot of yes, the day you use the no, they know that there must be something here, because ideally his default is yes. If he's saying no, there must be something there. Every yes you say goes into your future to multiply. Every yes into you say empowers your no in the day of usage. So get used to practicing that. Be calm every time. When somebody says, I want to do this, if you can afford it. I mean, I told a husband, your wife is asking for so million to do business. I said, look, if I'm robbers collect this money from you now, will you die? No. Will you stop living? No. Will you commit suicide? No. Will you cry? Well, will you go to church to share testimony? Yes. I said, so what's your problem? You will still go to church to share testimony if robbers have collected this money. So give it to your wife, let her do the business. And I know it will not work. And let it not work. You can afford that not working. You can afford it. You have the risk. If you don't have the money, it's a different ballgame. But if you have the money and you know that even if you take this money, like you burn this money by yourself, you put it on fire and it burns, you're not going to lose your life. You can afford this. So best it as experiential training for your wife. Give her the money, let her go and do the business. When it doesn't work, she will learn. The next time she's coming, she will come with more caution. You see? So that is part of training. Our imperfections are ladders to learning. Our struggles as human beings are ladders to learning. Right? And these are things that men will learn and will make a lot of difference for you. Again, I want to give tips to men. I'm talking to men, but it's working for everyone. Woman, single, everyone needs this. Practice delayed response. Practice delayed response. Don't say things like your wife is trying to talk and then you say, I know where you are going. Honestly, I say this with all humility. I can kneel down. It's a very foolish thing to say. It's very going. No. You don't know where it's going. You can't know where it's going. Come on, you are not God. How can you know where it's going? Even if you know where it's going, let him say where you know it's going. Let him go there in their own way. So we need to practice delayed response. I found out by research that a lot of women don't fight men because they want to insist on their way. No. Women fight a lot because they know they have not been heard. They know they have not been heard. You've not heard her, and she knows. And you are making conclusions, and she knows that he has not listened to it. This is what I'm saying. He's saying something else. So I tell people, get better in communication, get better in listening, active listening. But most crucially, practice delayed response. And what is delayed response? So your wife comes to you and says, "Hon, I want us to do this. So and so. Let's assume that what she started, when she opened her mouth, you knew this thing she's saying, I can't agree now. This is, you know it, but everybody is an actor. I've said it. The best actors are in marriages, not in Hollywood, not in Nollywood, of course. You must know how to act. If you just say, that's just me, I give it as it is, you are foolish. You just can't give it. There's something called diplomacy, right? There's something called guardedness. There's something called prudence, right? There's something called discretion. So you just can't say it as it is. You say it as it is. The Bible says a fool, opens his mouth and says all that is in his heart. That's for fools. Kings must be selective about the use of adjectives, about the timing of words, about how words land. You must consider all of that. The capacity of the recipient to even receive the word, to even receive it in a particular time. All of that must be put into consideration. So she's talking, I'm not going to approve this thing, but you let her talk. When she finished talking, you don't say, look, because a lot of time we don't listen. We are just waiting for our turn to speak. We just want the person to finish so that we can see what you want to say. So everything the person is saying, we are not hearing. We are just racing in our mind for the person to finish. You can't wait for the person to finish so that you can say what you really want to say. Then you are not listening. And that brings a lot of crisis and tension and strife in the home. And what you need to do is a science. When your partner is talking to you, listen. Really listen. Look into her face and really listen. Wow. Wow. I'm in the midst of, I told you I'm in the midst of a lot. People are waiting for me. Can we take a 5 minutes break? Can we take a 5 minutes break? And then I come
So
back
maybe
around.
we
I
should.
need to take.
So maybe we should reschedule it for another time.
Please, please,
Yes, I think
please,
that would
guys,
be
I am
better.
sorry. I am so sorry. I apologize. But people are waiting
Yes.
for me outside. They are like, where do we move? I'm so sorry. I really want to
Okay.
explain this, but I will started something today. We'll reschedule. I work with
Yes.
Morolayo. Forgive me. I love you all. Tolerate me. This is my own. I struggled today. Please permit. I pride myself in my capacity for
Yes.
excellence. I sometimes fail. This is one of my failure times. So please bear with me.
No.
Love you all. God bless you. I'll talk to you
Thank
later,
you, sir.
Morolayo. God bless.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we have come to the end of today's program. I promise us that we will bring him back, yes, very soon. He will be back with us, and we will be looking at that topic properly, marriage preparedness for men. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's already late now. So we have come to the end of our anniversary celebrations and program. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to go back to keep watching these videos. Remember to share the videos as well. And please, let's put to use all that we have learned during this anniversary since on Wednesday with Reverend Funke Felix Adejumo, with the prayers for single, married, and our children, with what I also spoke about on the future of marriage, and with even the little that Mr. Olakunle Soriyan has shared with us today. Please, let's put those wisdom nuggets into use. Let's reflect on those thoughts. Let's put it to work. Let's put it to use. I assure you that Mr. Olakunle Soriyan will be back another time. We will definitely bring him back. Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, Sunday, we'll be having a special guest. She's the head of nurses and midwife at Reddington Hospital. She will be with us next week, Sunday. I think that's on the 30th of May in celebration of our Children's Day. So she will be speaking to us too on maternal health, our child care, and child well-being. So we are going to be doing a lot this year. Please invite someone, share the flyers when it comes out. I hope we have learned a lot. I remain your host, Malaya Anna Opote. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are yet to do so. Leave us a like or a comment. Till we meet again, I say bye bye.